Get fired up here before we record.
All right, let's
All
go.
right, let's record now. All right, so Shohei Ohtani, I would argue is the greatest baseball player of all time. But I understand. I understand that some people they need to. I'm wearing my fucking glasses. I understand that some people, they need to see more. There's people that are impressed with restaurants, but they may be disappointed because of the price. There's people that really like to go to Kings Island, or like an amusement park of some sorts, but they hate the line. And there always seems to be some sort of reason why somebody can't end up being the GOAT. It's crazy. LeBron can't be considered the GOAT, even though he's literally been the greatest player in the league. I guess not anymore, but he was the greatest player in the league there for 13 or 14 rate years instead of just the 9-year hot stretch that Michael Jordan ended up going on. But this is not a Jordan versus LeBron GOAT case, and this is not a Shohei GOAT case either. Shohei's already a Hall of Famer. There was this belief, and we talked about it on the show before the World Series had started, on what's kind of on the line here for the World Series, and before the postseason, we had posed the question as well, like, is Shohei a Hall of Famer before this playoff run? And a lot of people had kind of assumed that he was going to win the MVP. I don't think that there were as many people. While he may have been favored to get the majority share of the votes, I don't think it was a slam dunk that he was going to be unanimous. Folks, this is the first guy in MLB history to win an MVP for a league as a DH. This is not supposed to happen. But Shohei is so good that he can win a unanimous MVP as a DH. After this ring that he ended up getting this past postseason, winning his second unanimous MVP, by the way, back-to-back MVP, and he didn't pitch this year, I don't think that he has to do any more to make the Hall of Fame. Am I being hyperbolic in saying that?
I don't think so. When you really take into account everything that he's brought to the game, I mean, I think that sometimes in the Hall of Fame, there's guys that are in the Hall of Fame that from the '80s and '90s that I don't know as a modern baseball fan. Someone who has been for 10, 12 years really a fan of baseball as a whole. And I like to think that I follow the entire league pretty well, which is just a byproduct of being a fan of a shitty team. So, but there's some guys that are in the Hall of Fame that if I don't know their name, then I'm like, well, how much of an impact were they really making on the game at the point that they were at their prime? And in 30 years, no kid is ever going to wonder about what Shohei Ohtani was doing to impact the game at the time that he was at his prime. We may not even have seen his prime. That's the scary thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's 30, so you might say, yes, historically speaking, he is probably past his physical prime. But, the guy just had the best hitting season he's had in the majors, and all the while he's recovering from elbow surgery. And oh yeah, he's gonna have a sub 3.5 ERA next year on the mound in 150 innings.
Mm.
And oh yeah, I mean, he's coming off, like you said, back-to-back MVPs, World Series championship. Oh yeah, he closed out the WBC. Got the last out of the WBC. I mean, and that's something that I think about is, when you talk about, you talked about the price of a meal. Face value, you say, yes, Shohei's getting paid $700 million for his contract, which is the largest North American pro sports contract in history. And I've listened to the economics of it. I mean, the Dodgers are making their money multiple times over off that deal very quickly. Whether they win another World Series in the time that Shohei's there or not, they're making their money.
Made it back.
I mean, obviously this doesn't benefit the Dodgers, but I would say the two most watched sports moments in the past 5 years in the world of baseball are the WBC run that Japan made and very clearly the run that the Dodgers made. I mean, they said that World Series Game 2 had more viewers in the country of Japan than in the U.S., which is saying a lot considering Japan has a third of the population that the U.S. does. I mean, between having Yamamoto and pitching and Shohei DHing that game, it was, 15 million people in Japan were watching. It's just insane.
And they're about to get another one. I can't remember the kid's name, but they're favorites to land him as well.
Yeah, Roki Sasaki.
Yeah. And honestly, if I were him, yeah, I'm going to Los Angeles.
And the thing is, he's going to be playing for peanuts because he's only 23. It's not like he's going to be signing a $250 or $350 million deal like Yamamoto did. It's going to be $875,000 or whatever exact the number there is. It's going to be in the $800,000 range. And, he's one of the top pitchers over the past 3 years in Japan.
Dude, think about this. He's your 3. I'm assuming for them, he may be a 4. But for at least, just imagine this. He's your 3, Shohei's your 1, and Yamamoto's your 2. You don't think that Japan's going to stick around?
And
they are.
And if there's anyone who wonders how are they going to mesh together, they already played together. They won a WBC together.
Yeah, I think I think it's interesting that Shohei, had a lot of injuries there in the very beginning, and I know that he's recovering from one now, but he's having this he had this historic season anyway. I say this all the time. The Hall of Fame is different league to league. To a certain extent, for the NFL and NBA, especially the NBA, it's a yearbook. Did you play in the league? If you did and you were the best player at that position for a 2-year stretch, you're probably in. If for the NBA, if you had 6 handles for a 2-year stretch, it didn't matter what you did for team success, you were in. Baseball, you had to do something unique. There had to be some sort of uniqueness to your game. There had to have been some sort of greatness to your game. And honestly, Shohei screams Cooperstown. Just screams it. He's a guy that we don't have any sort of examples of this yet. Okay, but you know how Aaron Rodgers has the pool there with a lot of the quarterbacks now where they go, I watched him growing up. I kind of saw him move around, the different arm angles, loved it, worked it into my game. Am I supposed to believe that there's not going to be another batch of guys that are going to come out 7-8 years from now that are going to be trying to replicate what Shohei did? Maybe doing it better, by the way. Maybe doing it better. But Shohei doing it at this level, it's going to take them a while to end up getting to that level.
I see the comparison you're trying to make here, and I think that in 10 to 15 years, you're going to see the number 17 in baseball rise like never before. And just like there's a whole entire generations of shortstops who wear number 2 for Derek Jeter,
Yeah. Yeah.
or the Latin players who wear number 21 for Roberto Clemente, it's going to be a whole generation of players wearing 17, no matter where
He's an
they're from.
icon. Like we do this a lot in at least professional wrestling, where we talk about, you know, the different eras that wrestling's went through. It was Hogan, then it was Stone Cold / The Rock, then it was Cena. Now it seems to be Cody, Roman, you know, kind of duking it out. For baseball, I mean, it's really been over the last, I guess, call it 30 years. You really went like late Nolan to Griffey Jr. To Jeter, and you kind of went a stretch of time where it was like they kind of tossed up there between like Harper, Trout. Shohei feels like it holds the weight there of a name like Jeter, holds the weight of a name like Griffey. Like, I don't know, like something about this just feels perfect. Also, if you're in the market for a Shohei Ohtani rookie card, you've come to the right place. Go ahead and comment down below. We'll talk pricing. Sorry. So to get that little quick plug, I've got Ohtani Japan cards. I've been buying into this guy since the second that he was signed there with the Angels. Already had a couple Japanese cards there in my eBay basket. I was ready. Him and Josh Allen, dude, those guys are kind of my claim to fame, because I feel like I got those pretty quick.
I'm watching the video right now of his NLDS home run against the Padres.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the thing, dude. Like, he's got moments too. Like that's one thing that the Hall of Fame asks for, is some sort of like playoff moment or a big moment in general. Shohei's got a dozen of them. It sucks though, because if you think about it, if he would have came into the league, and people thought about this with Ichiro, if he would have came into the league a little bit earlier on there in his career, like, there may not even be a case as to how he's not the GOAT. Like, he, you know, if Ichiro would have came in the league a little bit sooner, if you remember, he broke the all-time hit record there for baseball, and they try to overwrite there Pete Rose's record. We'll never understand that. We'll never understand that, and I choose never to understand that. But they try to do it. If Shohei would have came in the league sooner, I mean, I couldn't even imagine. Because I think that we're starting to get, I know he's coming off the 50-50 season. I think he's maybe got another year or two of just like, holy shit, what am I watching? Like, he is a unicorn.
yeah.
And then I think he slowly kind of fades back into, okay, he really good player. He's a Dodger. And honestly, as crazy as it sounds, like, he's done that to Freddie Freeman. As crazy as it sounds, like, he's almost done it to Mookie. And I think Mookie is a top 5, top 10 player in this league. But his shadow is so big, dude. Crazy. I need an autograph of his more than I need a third nut. I guess I don't need a third nut. As much as I need a Bengals win. Who dey? Right? Anyway,
here, let me ask you this.
yeah.
For the entire time that I've been old enough to purchase my own baseball jerseys, I've kind of operated under the mantra of I am not going to order current player jerseys, because, you know, they just get traded, and there's
Yeah.
you know there's so much in the public eye now as an athlete that it's, you know, paying $100 and some to support an athlete and wear their name is risky because you never know what could come out about this person in today's society, and then you can't support that person anymore. Anyways, I feel like Shohei is tops a short list of players that I've considered, buying a current jersey for that are in today's game. And I mean, like Shohei, Freddie,
Harper.
yeah, those are all likable guys, hardworking guys.
Harper in a baby blue. Oh my gosh! You know what?
I'll raise you Harper in the maroons. The Phillies maroon ones.
Okay, I can respect that. Yeah.
My school color was maroon and white, so.
Where'd you graduate?
Urbana.
Damn. I was Lebanon, so when you said maroon, I was like, wait a second here.
We were the hill climbers, and it was maroon. I don't know why maroon became our color, but it's a very niche color.
It is. It doesn't look really good on a redhead. That's kind of the sucky thing with the Reds is like the worst thing you can do to a redhead is put them in red.
Yeah.
Just because, like, something about it. My high school colors, I just fucking hated them. I mean, I was a Mason there for a second. I'm like, dude, green's awesome. Kings, like the red, white, and blue, I was awesome. Lebanon is damn maroon.
Yeah.
You guys now know where we live. That's awesome. Hey, for the record, I don't live in Lebanon anymore, so.
Like, you see, my 3 teams.
Hey, but red's your color.
Are all red, and.
Yeah, red's your color.
I gotta embrace it.
Blue's my favorite, but I think I'm the same. Like I think the red, because like I'm a big UC guy. I guess LSU is purple, but and orange too. Boise State, Bengals. I'll end up going up to Cooperstown though when Shohei retires, and he's inducted. Like I was there for Barry Larkin when he ended up getting inducted there in 2012. I will be there for Shohei as well. So whenever you guys want to end up signing or getting an autograph sign or whatever, I got you.
I've never been.
There was a running. I thought it was a running gag. But no, Josiah actually believed that Daniel Jones was a good quarterback. So Daniel Jones gets released, and let me give credit to Josiah. He did end up recognizing it about halfway through last year because I pressed him so much on it. He was finally willing to give up. No, he did beat Lamar there and is the only NFC quarterback to beat Lamar. Okay, I'm done with the Ravens shots here for now. ... So Daniel Jones asked for his release, and I'm assuming it's probably because he played safety after getting benched. And oh yeah, he was the third string quarterback. So yeah, Daniel Jones was not in a happy spot. I think he felt comfortable just because you can tell the coaching staff wanted nothing to do with him staying there. And from some of the reports, I do tend to watch a lot of Locked On Name Your Team. So if you're a fan of another team, I've probably watched your Locked On people before. Daniel Jones, it was not just a national media thing. Y'all were ready to get rid of him. The coaching staff was ready to get rid of him too. It was more so the Mara family and Eli. But more the Mara family because they felt like they were super patient there with Eli. Let him get his feet underneath him, and then he won. What people don't realize is, Tom Coughlin was a really good head coach. They had a really fucking great defense. Like the Giants' defense there during the Eli years, when they won anyway, fantastic. That's the only way that you were beating an undefeated Tom Brady, Randy Moss, Bill Belichick team. Was by having a strong defense led by, a guy that was still playing football after having fireworks take out his fingers. That guy was still on the defensive line.
APP, baby.
Dude, I mean, Gosh, that takes me back a little bit. Then you end up finishing off there with the Bucks. But Daniel Jones asked for his release, and we were talking about it before the show, Tyler, that like there's somewhere between 8 to 12 teams that are either definitely in the quarterback market, should be in the quarterback market, or maybe in the quarterback market. So you're probably looking, honestly, between 5 and 8 that will be in the quarterback market. And this isn't a good draft class for quarterbacks. There's supposed to be 2, and Shador is really the only guy that people think is a lock. But the Dion stuff, like there's a little bit of Alonzo Ball effect with Shador Sanders. Needless to say, Sam Darnold is like the best quarterback on the market. Maybe if you want to give Sanders and the other kid there for Florida, if you want to end up saying that, or maybe Riley Leonard, I can't remember if he's coming out this year or next year, but the quarterbacks coming out of the class, while it might not be Malik Willis or Desmond Ridder, in the 2022 draft, but it's a pretty bad draft class for quarterbacks. Daniel Jones is going to be a hot commodity. It's a matter of where he ends up going. Do you think that he signs anywhere before the season ends?
Like we kind of talked about before this, I don't know what Daniel Jones could do for a team at this point in the season to help them out. I mean, we've got what, 5 or 6 games left for the team. So I'm not sure what he could do to help. I don't think that a team that is in it is going to sign him. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a team that has a playoff spot or playoff aspirations that has a backup quarterback issue. I mean, not similar play styles whatsoever. But I know a team that has playoff aspirations this year, even though they're 4-6, and they don't have a backup quarterback. Miami Dolphins. I mean, if something happens to Tua again between now and the next next few weeks, I mean, if you have to go back to Skylar Thompson or Tim Boyle, you might lose Tyreek, honestly. I mean, not saying that Daniel Jones is maybe any better than those two, but my goodness. I mean, like we said before the show, the Colts, could be an option. There's a bunch of teams that need a quarterback, but I don't know how many teams could sell Daniel Jones to be an option at quarterback to their fan base.
Yeah, I think it's tough. And Miami, because we haven't really talked about, people like to try to build Tua's stock whenever he gets hurt. For some reason, we like Tua a lot more when he gets a concussion, and like I don't understand it. They built their offense for a left-handed quarterback, so their entire offensive line scheme, instead of protecting the blind side there and getting a left tackle, they're doing that on the right side of the line.
Yeah.
So the strength of their team, that's why because I think that Daniel Jones would work out there in that system, but it is so hard to work there as a backup in Miami because they've literally built their offense around, for the most part, a pocket quarterback that's a left-handed guy. That's personally why I would never go with a left-handed quarterback, though. It's just, if he gets hurt, I'm fucked. I've spent all of my money on one side of the line.
That makes sense.
But I think Minnesota's got to be the team. Now, I don't know if they sign him as a backup this year or if they wait until next year. But I'm thinking about this from the perspective of Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. Both end up going to Carolina, didn't do shit. And maybe he goes to a team like that, like maybe he's a backup there for the Raiders to start. But the second that they got into that whole McVay style of offense, all of a sudden, kind of worked. Baker Mayfield got signed on a Tuesday and won that Thursday. Like that happened. We were talking about Joshua Dobbs and what he had majored in there in college. And he took over the starting job that week, got traded over there, and then he won there on Sunday. Sam Darnold goes into San Francisco. I don't believe that he played any sort of games or anything like that. But now he goes to Minnesota in a similar style of offense. Looks pretty damn good. Now it helps that you have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson and Aaron Jones and Kevin O'Connell there calling the plays. Sounds like a lot of quarterbacks would end up thriving there in that system. If Daniel Jones is going to work, here's what we've never found out about Jones. If you gave him support, what would happen? So we gave him the coach, right? We gave him Brian Daboll in the first year that he got a capable offensive play caller. He makes the playoffs. Now, I think very highly of Daboll, so I give Daboll more credit for that than I do Daniel Jones personally. But I know there's a lot of people, especially Giants fans, that want him gone. I will never understand that. But Jones had Saquon. That was it. Like that was it there on offense. And you go out there the next year, or I guess you get rid of. We give him waivers. Okay, well, what if you gave him kind of, Brock Purdy looks a lot better than him, for example. Well, Brock Purdy has got a lot of players there around him. Doesn't look, I guess, as good this year, but there's quarterbacks that need this. Jared Goff. Jared Goff is probably the most perfect example. When you give Jared Goff time to throw, you give him a good run game, give him a good play caller, give him a good set of receivers. Oh, wait, the perfect situation. Yes, some people think he's the MVP of the league. We don't even know if Daniel Jones is like that or not. Like, I feel like we know so little about him, where I think he sucks. I do. I don't have the proof, though, there in the pudding, because I thought Sam Darnold sucked too, and he's looking pretty damn good this year. So I think Minnesota's the team. I think it's a good backup situation because McCarthy's coming off the injury. So he's going to be a year removed from college football, brand new there to the NFL. I think that there may be even a chance that you end up starting at some point that season. And that's no shot at J.J. McCarthy, but I think that Jones has a market because of how many quarterbacks are needed there in the league. But I would probably take the backup role there in Minnesota and just kind of wait my chances personally. It's going to be crazy, dude. I can't wait to see who drafts them or who ends up picking them, because when that team announces, and honestly, they may wait like a couple hours after Schefter reports, hey, Daniel Jones just signed with X team. That person's Twitter account afterwards is going to end up posting that like a few hours after, going to get demolished in the playoffs, in the comment section. I can't wait to see it. Cannot wait to read it.
Don't forget.
How about them starting the Tommy DeVito, though? Like that's. I thought they were going to start Drew Lock. Maybe they think they're going to get Shedeur Sanders, and that's what we talked about there a couple of weeks ago, where, hey, just go ahead and bench him and take your chances there on Sanders. I think the more I think about it, I don't know if I like Sanders as a prospect anymore. I don't know if I like him, man. I might be bailing water here and just say there's not going to be a good quarterback coming out of this draft.
Yeah. Um.
Like he's not Caleb as a prospect.
Who is his? What is
He's
his play
not.
style similar to, like NFL comp?
So he can move. He likes to play there in the pocket. He's probably. That's a good question because I want to say. I want to say he's close to Allen, but he's not as thick, and he's. I think Allen's more willing to run than Sanders is. I don't think Josh likes to run, but he doesn't have a problem necessarily, running to go get a first down or go get a touchdown there to beat the Chiefs. I think Sanders likes to stay there in the pocket, so I wonder what his draft comp would be.
Let's see.
You obviously don't want to say Mahomes, but I mean Mahomes does kind of play that style of offense.
Uh,
Josh is a little bit bigger than that.
yeah, it says he's 6'2", 215. Is he?
That's tiny. Tiny. Damn, I didn't know he was 215. He's got to gain some weight. Give me like 225. I'm feeling good, but
I'm reading about his strengths and his weaknesses and his projection, but I'm not reading about a draft comp.
it can't be a current player, honestly. Like I can't think of a current guy that I'm like, you know what? That kind of strikes me as being similar.
What is different? Okay. Let me see what you think about this. And I think that you are better to answer this question than anyone else. Pro comparison. This is from Bleacher Report.
He's not Burrow, if that's what you're about to say.
Shades of Joe Burrow and CJ Stroud.
CJ's a good comp. I'll give them CJ. That's a good comp. That's probably his ceiling. I think, and listen, I hate this because I sound like a homer when I defend him. And I mean, I'm wearing a Burrow making Cincinnati great again sweatshirt, so I understand that I probably lose all credibility whenever I talk about Burrow, but even taking out like the fact that he's having a really good season, Burrow has shocked me this year with his elusiveness. Like he clearly made that a new part of his game, and I think he's in the upper echelon. From what he showed me this year, and getting out of sacks and moving there in the pocket, I think he's one of the best in the league. After this season, oh gosh, dude, I cannot believe that we are not going to make the playoffs. We're not going to make the playoffs, and we're going to have an MVP quarterback. Like that, only the Bengals can do that. Only the Bengals can. Oh God, it's so aggravating. So aggravating. Hey, but they don't play this week. Man, that's awesome. We don't have to deal with the Bengals this week.
Josh, what do we do on the weekends that our teams have buys?
I'm working my ass off, but
we tell our girlfriend, yeah,
let's go do something.
We can do whatever you want on Sunday.
See, but I got to prep for this show. So I still got to end up watching at least a game or two, not including Sunday Night Football. Monday night's going to be great. Harbaugh, can't wait for it.
It's going to be fun.
I know that Josiah is already going to end up canceling there on Monday because he's going to be plastered there at 7:30. He may sound worse than he did today. I don't know if you heard him. sound like he has been smoking 50 packs a day for the past few years.
He hasn't been?
Huh?
I said he hasn't been?
He hasn't been. Apparently, some other person here has been doing that, but he surprisingly, I mean, dude, the only thing that was missing, I hope that you're watching this, Josiah. If not, I'm going to clip this anyway here for you. But the only thing missing here was him just, if you don't stop, this is going to be you too. Like if that shit would have ended up popping out.
Be very careful while showering. I think that something that would be fun, and I don't know how. Obviously, it would be fun for me because I can talk to you guys while also watching a game on the other screen. I think it would be so much fun if, like, during a primetime game, we all were in a Discord and like we were able to get a real time reaction from Josiah,
Yeah.
or any, either of us. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Hey, comment down below if you want to end up seeing us, because I don't mind doing that for that Monday game, because I'm watching that start to finish anyway.
Yeah, I'll be here.
If you want to see that, go ahead and comment that down below, because Ravens are losing that anyway. Oh shit, we're about to give our picks. Oops, my bad. All right, man. Well, last night we played there in a snow globe. It didn't start off like that. I thought it was a really cool scene for the NFL. I love the winter. Like, just I'm a redhead, so I burn really easily. The sun scares the fucking piss out of me. Okay, just scares me. So I try to stay out of it as little as I can. And in fact, if you look at pictures there from my parents' Facebook pages, for some reason they always want to seem to show the picture of me looking like an Oompa Loompa when I was burnt there in the face and my eyebrows turned white. Okay, like I can't wait for wintertime. And when I saw that game there last night, there between the Browns and Steelers, not only was that a great just AFC North game, oh my gosh, dude, the scene for that was awesome. Seeing seeing a few guys there shirtless, drinking a beer. We had somebody there from the office that was a Steeler fan, and I would hate this. Steeler fan from Cincinnati drives 4 hours up to Cleveland because he's so confident that he's going to end up winning that game. He was just going to go in what he was wearing, which was just a sweatshirt and jeans. Dude, I love it when Steeler fans are pissed. Love it, love it, love it. I think there's still going to be a team that is going to end up making the playoffs this year, but great moment for Jameis Winston. Really glad that Nick Chubb in a week where Bijan Robinson is on a bye week for me. Glad that Nick Chubb could sit there and score me 2 touchdowns because yardage wise, he's freaking me out a little bit.
Yeah.
Might be done with Nick Chubb as a dominant running back, which is sad, man. I guess we kind of thought that was going to happen, but all right, man. You got the games?
Yeah.
Let's do it, man.
All right. Dallas at Washington. Jaden Daniels, 2-game losing streak. What you got here?
I like Washington in this spot. I think that, like you said, coming off a 2-game losing streak, I think that they're hungry to end up snapping that. Makes me a little concerned that Jaden, since the rib injury, I appreciate him playing through it, but just like Baker Mayfield a few years ago, kind of wish he would just I wish he would have set it down there for a second, like at least like take a game off there in the meantime. But he's played through it regardless. Tough kid. I think he's trying to prove some of his injury data is wrong, and I was one of those guys going into the draft. But I think Washington in this spot, dude. I mean, I think he's projected 22 fantasy points. He'll score 25. Be all right.
if Washington loses this game, sports media has to really reevaluate a lot of stuff, a lot of narratives that we've been talking about.
You'll never hear me talk about them winning the division and saying that I called that before the season started. You'll never hear me say that again if they lose there on Sunday. I don't care if they win by 1 point and it's down to the very second. They desperately need a win. And Cliff Kingsbury arguably needs that win more than anybody.
Yeah, if Washington loses this week and Chicago pulls out a win against the Vikings, then we would have to have some conversations. Next game could be sneaky interesting, could be a blowout. Lions at Colts.
I thought about this a lot. I don't see the Lions going 15-1. And Richardson coming off his best game, Lions coming off of their best game. I tend to lean Colts here in this matchup. At least I think they're covering the spread because it's a double-digit spread. I don't think the Lions are going to cover that. But I think the Colts are a sneaky upset here this week. Just based off of Richardson having a career week there last week. Maybe they're starting to kind of open some things up there in the offense or kind of taking off the handcuffs there, so to speak. But I think the Colts are a heavy upset pick here this week.
Now, if Josiah were here, do you think he would call this a trap game?
Probably because they have the Lions ranked over the Ravens. I think if the Lions were a couple spots there below the Ravens, I think he'd probably take the Lions to win big.
I want to see the chaos. I think it'd be cool to see the Colts win and knock the Lions off. Lions been riding high lately, 8-game win streak. But I am going to go with the Lions. I think that they are winning games convincingly, both against poor teams and good teams. So we'll see what they can keep, if they can keep it going on the road. Next game, a team coming off their first loss, the Kansas City Chiefs at the Carolina Panthers. Do you see any chance that this is not the type of thing that happens after like a college football or an NFL game where a team should have won and they didn't, and so then the next day you see clips of people playing Madden with that matchup and it's like 97 to 10? Do you see any world where that's not how this game ends up?
I actually think it'll be kind of close.
Okay.
Because the Panthers are coming off their bye. I think this is a 14-point spread. Maybe this is a 10. It's another double-digit spread, though, I think.
They have this one at 11, but they only have Lions Colts at 7.5.
Really? Okay.
This is Pro Football
So I
Reference,
guess that wasn't as hot of a take as I thought it was. I think the Chiefs win this game, but I think that the Panthers coming off a bye, it was kind of an emotional-ish win, I guess, against the Giants. They're in England or in Germany. Yeah, that was in Germany. But yeah, man. I think Bryce is starting to kind of feel a little bit off. It's a head coach coming off a bye. Normally, that signals some good vibes. Although I think the Chiefs are going to win, I do think that the Panthers cover the spread at least.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. I mean, if the Chiefs somehow lose to the Panthers, I said it earlier with Washington. If the Chiefs, even if they don't lose, but if they have a 16-14 win, if they play like Minnesota did against Carolina a couple weeks ago, where it's 12-7, again, we got to really zoom out and analyze what's going on here. And I'm not saying that Buffalo might not have one of those games against New England, because we play them twice in 3 weeks to end the year. We play New England, the Jets, and then New England to end the year.
Hmm.
Playing a team twice in 3 weeks, that's rough. So Buffalo could have one of those games at the end of the year. But if the Chiefs have that game against Carolina,
Mahomes has to play good in this game, I think. Mahomes is skating by right now. Like I talked about LeBron here earlier on, where he was the best player in the league there for a 10 to 15 year stretch, and like by a wide margin, by the way. Brady wasn't always necessarily the best quarterback in the league. I thought that Rodgers and Manning were always more talented than Brady, and if you were to rank them, even though Brady had the rings, during that time frame, I still would have argued that having a guy like Rodgers or Manning would have ended up doing really well there for your team compared to Brady. Mahomes is almost kind of somehow slipping into that Brady category, but he's got the gifts of a Manning Rodgers. Like it's a weird thing where he should be 1-2, and he's got a coach that should make him 1-2. But now we're talking about 2 years now where like his numbers are just not looking good at all.
yeah, he's not the record-setting quarterback. He's if Nick Foles would have played a full season that year that they won the Super Bowl, he was never going to put up numbers like Carson Wentz, but somehow Nick Foles led a talented team to a Super Bowl. I think that's kind of what Mahomes is doing right now. I mean, he's relying on his defense, and Nick Foles had Jason Kelsey, who was a top center, and he had
Best center of all time.
Noted UC guy too.
Hey, no, Cleveland Heights. We don't talk about UC with the Kelseys.
What's next here? We have Minnesota at Chicago. Minnesota started 5-0, and they're 8-2. Had a 12-7 game against the Panthers. Not the most convincing 8-2 team.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Bears last week outplayed the Packers and still lost. I think the Bears are in that space that the Jets are in, the Browns are in, where it's just like you'll just invent a way to lose. I do think the offense played better there last week, but there's still so much improvement that I need to see from a play calling perspective. At the very least, that's what I need to end up seeing. I'll take Minnesota here.
Yeah. I don't necessarily see it being a blowout, but I'm going to go with Minnesota. I think Donald can lead them to a win. I might be surprised. New England at Miami.
Miami. New England sucks. Gosh, they suck.
Apparently, New England has only beaten Miami in Miami 17 times in 64 years.
Damn.
So, I don't know.
But Drake May.
I'm hoping for the Patriots because I wanted to put a nail in that coffin. Because even though Josh has a great history against the Dolphins, and the Dolphins suck in cold weather, I I don't necessarily want to see Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle in the playoffs as a 7 seed.
Hmm.
Yes, they would have to come to Buffalo. Yes, it would be cold. Yes, it would probably be snowing. But just the explosiveness of Tyreek and Jalen Waddle and that offense as a whole, Mostert, Achane, um, I think I'd rather play the Broncos or the Chargers. I think if the Bills, stay static and get the 2 seed, because like we've said, like a potential Ravens Steelers matchup, beating a team 3 times in a season is hard.
Mm.
So I don't know. Anyways, Titans at Texans. Texans.
Yeah,
Okay. Bucks at Giants.
Bucks.
Okay.
Mike Evans might come back, by the way, this week.
I saw that. This isn't a very good week for football, in my opinion. Not a lot of storylines, but there are a lot of divisional games. A lot of divisional games. Speaking of, Broncos at Raiders.
Broncos.
Yeah. Cardinals at Seahawks. This is where it starts to get interesting. The 4:00.
It's in Seattle, right?
Yep.
So I think Arizona's been really impressive this year. I'm starting to lean because I'm with the news that came out today with the Niners. They're not making the playoffs. The Rams have such a deep hole to come out of, so I do think the Cardinals win the division. Tough spot though. I kind of like Seattle in this matchup.
Yeah, 49ers, huge news. I'm not saying I hope that Purdy and Bosa are out for another week and they have to play the Bills with a couple injuries, but hey, I think that Purdy and Bosa should take as long as they need until they feel healthy. We don't want to risk future injury for a 5-5 team, right? I don't know. I mean, I come on here last week and I say I think the Seahawks aren't a good team and I don't think they have a shot against the 49ers. And what happens? So I guess I'm going to go with them at home. They do have the home field advantage. It isn't against Buffalo, but maybe they do this week. I don't know. I'm going to go with them. Next, 49ers at Packers. No Purdy, no Bosa. But
yeah,
no Trent Williams either. But Jordan Love has been a turnover machine lately. So if he has 2 turnovers, that could be the difference between a 10-point swing where the 49ers can stay in it, and you never know.
Yeah, I don't know. Have they named a starter there for the Niners yet at quarterback?
Yeah, Brandon Allen.
Okay. I think that's a former Bengal. I think that there's a shot that the Niners look a little bit better than what you would think with that Brock Purdy. But maybe that's just me saying Brock Purdy really ain't it at all.
Brandon Allen is the guy that beat the Steelers on that.
Yeah.
That helped.
Yeah, no, I remember that.
That helped solidify.
No, that was Jeff Driscoll.
Huh?
Oh no, you're right. That one was Brandon Allen.
Yeah, that was Brandon Allen because I stayed up late to watch that. A pointless game. A meaningless late season game.
Yeah.
But it helped solidify Buffalo's playoff seeding that year.
Hey, you're welcome. We've helped out like multiple times now. I know you guys have helped us out multiple times too by laying down there in the playoffs at home in a blizzard. But I I thought this game was going to be the game of the week outside of the Monday night game. Once Purdy's ruled out, and Bosa, and Ayuk, like, this team right now, they're just full of injuries. And listen, the Niners have this a lot. Like, this team has been one of those, gosh, how'd they never win it? Like, they're very much the Houston Rockets there in the 90s. Or, they're I guess the Bills teams there in the 90s where they end up going to 4 straight. But, you wonder why the Dodgers haven't won more recently. There's teams where, like, they're stacked enough to where you think they'd win one. The Niners are one of those teams, but part of the reason why they haven't won is because they're hurt all the fucking time. And this just seems to be one of those years, man, where it's just the year from hell. Part 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Packers.
Yeah.
Speaking of potential game of the week, both of the next two should be good. Eagles at the Rams.
Yeah, that one's a little tough. Nick Sirianni, while he gets judged very often, I believe he's 21-8 on the road. He's a very good road coach. I think he galvanizes guys every once in a while. At least he's pretty good at motivating them on the road. Because, I mean, if you're sitting there having a winning record, the Rams are not going to have the home field advantage in that matchup. So yeah, I am kind of buying into Philly there.
Sorry to interrupt. Did you see that Mike Tomlin 0-5 on road divisional Thursday night games?
He's now 2-9 in road Thursday night football games in general.
Yeah. I was listening to your guy Colin Cowherd earlier, and I can't remember who he was talking to. Maybe Shady McCoy. But they said that it was a former Patriot. I don't know who it was. But they were talking and they said that Thursday night games.
Edelman.
Huh?
Edelman?
Yeah. They said that Thursday night games, it really comes down to kind of simplifying the game plan and, being really consistent. And they said Tomlin is great on Sunday and Monday, but not so much Thursday.
I think you could afford to lose that game last night. There are teams where, yes, if you had a Mahomes or an Allen, a Burrow, Lamar, could probably have a bit of a subpar team and still have a decent shot there to end up winning their week to week, or have a really good shot. That Steelers defense is really fucking good, dude. It is always good. I cannot tell you how many damn defensive lines scare me when my quarterback throws the ball, and it's almost more so when the ball's in the air. They swat every damn pass down, and I swear TJ Watt has picked Burrow off 2 or 3 times. Can't explain it. No other defensive line does that to Burrow, but all of a sudden, I mean, this kid coming off the line, TJ Watt's an all-time pass rusher. I don't know where he ranks necessarily, but he's an all-time pass rusher for sure. Gosh, I want Mike Tomlin as my coach. I don't care how bad he plays there on Thursday night. I watch Andy Dalton lose every fucking primetime game anyway.
Well, you guys just got flexed out of Thursday, so it wouldn't matter.
Damn. You did?
No, you guys. Your week 16.
I don't want to know.
Your week 16 Browns-Bengals was Thursday night. It got flexed out.
Yeah, I'd flex that shit out too.
It's going to be
We got
Broncos
flexed into
Chargers.
Sunday Night Football. That was a better game. I'd rather have that one than that Thursday night game.
It's going to be Broncos Chargers on Thursday night instead. You guys are going to
Well,
Sunday 1:00.
I mean, I guess it's not. It's two playoff teams. Whatever.
It's the past two Oregon quarterbacks.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah. I guess there's enough of a storyline. Thursday Night Football, dude. We've talked about in our group chat just the production value of Thursday Night Football on Amazon. Terrible. Like Amazon just does not put a good product out there for us to end up watching. I swear they're experimenting with stuff and they've had it for a few years now.
The Bills played week 2 on Thursday Night Football, and the game was over within 12 minutes of the start of the game, so I didn't really have to pay attention.
Al Michaels needs to take that pension there from the NFL. The dude's starting to kind of ruin it for me. And I love Al. He's almost kind of ruining the game for me there on Thursdays.
Just want the record to show that I have been quoted on this show as saying that I do not like listening to Al Michaels. He's a legend.
He just, yeah.
It's like Bob Costas, playoff baseball. Get him out.
No. We don't get rid of Bob Costas. We don't get rid of Costas.
The fuck out of here.
Costas is my guy. I have a baseball card of Costas. Okay, like I'm a huge fan of his. Al Michaels, though, I mean, last week in Philly, we actually heard the words "the Liberty Ball" instead of the Liberty Bell. We're talking about a national monument. We can't even get that verbiage out. We don't know the tight end that's catching the ball. Like, he's just so out of it. He's so out of it. Oh, gosh, dude. And every chance that you can fuck up, he has seized the opportunity to fuck that up. And I love Al. Love him. My gosh, he sucks now.
Bob Costas, not it. Anyways.
Bob Costas is it. Okay, fuck you.
Ravens at Chargers. The Harbaugh.
Man. Josiah, are you ready to be pissed? Well, so is J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards. Fuck, who's that OC? I can't remember.
Greg Roman.
They're all ready for it. Huh? Greg Roman, yeah. They're all ready for it. I think the Ravens may. I mean, the Charger fan base hasn't completely been built there in Los Angeles, but I think the Ravens are just going to have the home field advantage and that kind of be it. Maybe Tucker ends up making the field goals that he ended up missing there against Pittsburgh, but I think quarterback wise, Lamar is better than Herbert. The rest of it speaking, though, maybe they have a better run game. But Henry's been kind of slow over the past few weeks. He's getting a little bit older as well. So he can't be that dominant over a 17-game stretch like he could there for Tennessee. I tend to think that Jim Harbaugh is going to hold off on blowing out John. I don't know if it's going to be a blowout, but I do tend to think that J.K. Dobbins, who held out multiple times, by the way, they're against the Ravens, just pissed that they wouldn't pay him. And Gus Edwards, being the touchdown machine that he was there for Baltimore, gets released. Greg Roman, Tyler, we are led to believe by our guy that likes to lose our credibility in Josiah that will sit there and say, oh, gosh, Todd Monken. Gosh, give me more of him. Oh, man, he's such a good play caller. If Lamar Jackson was worlds ahead of Michael Vick. If he was better than Patrick Mahomes today, don't you think a guy that called the plays to take Colin Kaepernick, who got benched by Blaine Gabbert, not for blackball reasons, due to play, he took him to the playoffs and took him to a Super Bowl. He couldn't get Lamar out of the second round of the playoffs. We want to blame Greg Roman. If there is any bit, any centimeter of creativity within Greg Roman's mind, it will be used there on Monday. I don't think it'll be a blowout. Chargers are winning that game. Like, I would love to hear how they're not winning that.
I can't tell you because I'm looking at the Ravens schedule and I think that the trend is pretty clear that whenever the Ravens play a decent defense, they tend to not do as well. And little tidbit here, Chargers are first in points allowed per game, 14.5. You've got the league's second highest scoring offense against the league's highest scoring defense. So I'm going to go with the Chargers.
The most points they've given up, by the way, all year, 28. Like that game there against the Bengals, that was the most they gave up, and like they are playing very, very well.
I think they're just a better team. And I think that they're more fundamentally sound than the Ravens. And I don't think that the Ravens are playing a good brand of football right now.
I think that's like, I agree with Josiah. I think John Harbaugh is the reason why they're not disciplined. Like, I know that he blames the refs and whatnot all the time, and if my team was getting 15 penalties a game, I'd probably blame the same thing. But I do think that about 13 of those of the 15 are 100% legit, and the 2 that aren't are debatable. I think a lot of that does come back down to coaching. It doesn't seem like the Ravens are completely buttoned up, but Lamar kind of hides some of those flaws there in the team, which is, Flacco could end up doing that there for a couple of years, and really with him it was like every other year. That's kind of how the AFC North has been, is every other year there's a new winner. But Lamar kind of hides some of the buttons that aren't buttoned there for the Ravens, so to speak. But sometimes he's going to have off games. And when they have off games, they're like bad. They're, gosh, could you even beat the Panthers bad? And it's so weird because there are games where, they're on the other side of the spectrum. You're like, you could compete with Detroit. Hell, they beat the piss out of Detroit last year. I wouldn't be shocked if they did that, on any given Sunday this year. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they played the Panthers and the Panthers beat them. It's so weird. You don't know what you're getting there week to week, and in a playoff stretch where you're playing the best teams and the best quarterbacks. That's why it's so hard to buy into them, because I don't even know where I'm getting there 17 weeks there in the regular season. Look at that. I was able to get out a Lamar Jackson point, and there wasn't like yelling. There wasn't any sort of combativeness afterwards. It's crazy. No, Josiah, go ahead and comment down below how the Ravens are going to be able to stave off the Chargers. All right, do that for me. And you know what? While Josiah's doing that, you can go ahead and do that as well. Comment below what your biggest pick of the week is going to end up being. And I mean, if you want to talk about the hardball, go ahead and give me some more ammunition there for Josiah. But go ahead, subscribe down below, like this video, share it, Who they? Let's trade Jamar. And you know what? Let's trade us some Joe Burrow. Let's go.